All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at for how we regulate muscle size in response to resistance exercise is this idea of SMAD signaling. And it's really, this idea of SMAD signaling comes down to one protein that we've heard about, or you probably have heard about, and that's a protein called myostatin. And so what we're going to do in this series of videos is we're going to describe the effect of myostatin on muscle size. At the end of these videos, you should be able to name 5 different genes or proteins in the myostatin pathway that can induce muscle hypertrophy. You should be able to describe the interplay between SMADs 1, 5, and 8 and SMAD 2, 3, because these are 2 different SMAD transcription factors, and what they do is they have reciprocal effects. So if you have one protein bind to the receptor at the top, you're going to activate one group of these SMAD proteins, and then if you have a different protein binding at the membrane, you're going to activate a different SMAD group. And we're going to see how that interplay is basically producing this reciprocal situation where you can either have one signaling or you can have the other. You can't really have both of them at the same time. And what we're going to see is that they both regulate muscle mass in reverse ways. You should be able to name a key genetic target of myostatin. So you're going to be able to name one protein that we know is targeted by myostatin that might have an effect on the regulation of muscle size. You'll be able to explain how myostatin affects satellite cell activation. And this seems to be one of the things that myostatin does in an adult animal, is it's again going to regulate the ability of satellite cells to proliferate and become activated. You're going to be able to draw the pathway leading from resistance exercise to the local inhibition of myostatin, and you're going to be able to state the role of mTOR complex 1 in the growth induced by inhibition of myostatin. So when we block myostatin, muscle gets bigger, which is, again, some of these things are telling us that myostatin has this role of putting a brake. It's a molecular brake towards muscle growth. And really, this came to a head when people started to look for the genes that regulated muscle size in specifically these animals right here. So this incredible animal right here is a cow. It's a steer, it's a steer, so it's a male cow. And so what you can see is, you should be able to see that it's got massive, dude, it's swole, all right? So this is a hugely strong cow. It's a big muscular cow, and it's called a Belgian blue cow. And the Belgian blue cattle were a breed of cattle that had this kind of musculature that everybody was wondering, why is this cow such a big muscular cow? What has happened to them to make them this way? And as a result of this, first of all, the meat quality was bad because there's too much muscle and not enough fat. But now there's an interest in trying to understand how these muscles came about growing so much in an animal that doesn't do much exercise. They just stand like the rest of the cows, they stand and eat most of the day, but they look like this. So most people will not be able to identify this dog, but this dog breed is a dog breed that is known for its slender muscular build, but it's known that way because it has a hemizygote for myostatin. So the Belgian blue cow, Se-Jin Lee was the first to discover that the reason that it was this muscular is because it lacks a gene called myostatin. And this is a whippet. Those little skinny, little greyhound-looking dogs, the reason they're so skinny and muscular is because each whippet, normal whippet, has one myostatin gene from one parent and doesn't have a myostatin gene from the other. When you get the offspring of whippets who have neither parent has given them a myostatin gene, they get a myostatin knockout phenotype, and they become incredibly muscular like this. I think this one has an 18-pack because basically it has more abs, but you can see all the abs. It's a big bulldog-looking dog, but it's actually a whippet, these little tiny skinny dogs. So what you should be able to see from these 2 pictures is that what myostatin does is it's a molecular brake. When you don't have myostatin, muscles grow in an almost uncontrolled fashion. All right, so now what we're going to see is we're going to take a look at how myostatin works and whether myostatin is involved in strength training induced increases in muscle size.